today I played round 5 and I played against woman grandmaster Julia Movsesian. Her husband is Sergey Movsesian, grandmaster. I know them quite well, so they're really awesome people. But yeah, today I was facing her, and yeah, it was a very interesting game. Let's have a look. So I played the move e4. Before the game started, I promised myself I would work on my time management. I'll play much faster. I would push myself every move to play faster. So let's see how that worked out. e4, e5. Before the round, by the way, I wasn't sure what she would do because she has been playing several moves on the first move after e4. So my prep was not very deep. And I was just mostly gonna wing it. What's gonna happen? So knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. I went for the Lopez. a6, bishop a4, knight f6, d3 because I don't want to jump into a Berlin. d6, c3, bishop d7. This is all normal. Short castle, g6. I'm actually not sure exactly about the setup because typically you see in the Lopez b5, knight a5, and c5 type of moves. But here she's not going for this idea whatsoever of b5. She's playing very safe with bishop d7 and also putting the bishop on g7 instead of e7. Typically it goes to e7 and then you see in the Lopez it goes to e7 and then back to g7 through f8. So yeah, it's an interesting line. I don't actually know what I'm supposed to play here, but I thought, okay, let's play h3. I want to develop my bishop here. So yeah, otherwise after bishop e3 would have been knight g4. So that's what I'm trying to prevent. Bishop g7 is what my opponent played. Very logical. Bishop e3 is what I played. Short castle, knight bd2. I was actually not sure what my plan is here because do I want to play d4? Because for the longest time I was considering knight h2 and f4. But what I didn't like is that after knight h2, there are moves like knight h5. Oh no, actually there's d5. Yeah, I remember. There's d5 in this position. d5, there's a lot of pressure on this pawn. And I'm not so sure, like I'm not in time to play f4. So I figured that, you know, because of the fact that my knight that jumped to h2 is not attacking the pawn e5 anymore, black is allowed to play d5. So yeah, that's why I didn't play knight h2 obviously, but I did consider this for the longest time because I thought I need to do something. I couldn't really figure out what my plan was, but I just decided to develop my pieces and see what happens, because if I would spend more time than I already did, I would have gotten in trouble very early on. My opponent played queen e8. I was really surprised by this move. I didn't know why, how, what, but I sensed that my opponent is aiming for knight h5 and f5, of trying to avoid any sort of bishop g5 moves, I think. So I thought that was the idea, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do here. Ideally, I want to put my bishop on b3 because I feel like it's not doing anything here. But if bishop b3 right away, I thought knight a5 is a bit annoying, and that's why I played move b4. My opponent went for knight h5, and here I play bishop b3, and there's no knight a5 in the air. So I'm pinning this pawn on f7, so that's why my opponent plays king h8, because she really wants to play f5. And here I played g4 because, well, I don't want you to play f5 that easily. And I thought the knight is pretty much forced to go to f4. Apparently f5 is still a move. What? Wow. f5 is apparently a move that is not losing because takes, you have f4. You're trapping my bishop. But I think not a single human being would go for this line. Like, why? I don't know. Maybe Magnus would. Anyways, she played knight f4, which is a very logical move. Takes, d4, and I like my position. I mean, I have the center, I have a lot of space, and I feel like my knights have a lot of potential. And pretty much her only plan is to attack those pawns over here on g4 and h3. She wants to play the move h5 and try to ruin my pawn structure and open my king up. So in the next couple of moves, I'm pretty much trying to stop her from doing that. So she went with queen e7 first. So basically, if she plays h5 right here, I think I would have played knight h2. Let's see what the engine says. h5 and Oh, takes is good. So takes, yeah, I don't remember what I was thinking about. Oh yeah, after takes, you just sacrifice. Oh wow. Yeah, if you take here, I guess there's knight g5 move type of moves, or you can even take here. Yeah. Yeah, I saw these kind of lines and I was happy with my position because I am the one attacking, not you. So, yeah, there were a lot of moments where she could play h5, but I figured that was not good. So, yeah, here queen e7. I went for king g2, simply defend this pawn, and I mean, I thought the king was well placed on g2. Rook a e8. Yeah, I was seeing her plan pretty much. I mean, I figured she wants to put her queen on d8 and then move it to c8 and then attack the g4 pawn like that. So, which is what she played, rook e1, simply strengthening the pawn in the center, and maybe like one day I'll play e5 maybe, and if she plays f5, I will take with my e pawn. So that's why she played queen d8. I played queen c2 because, well, I actually was thinking that one day maybe this diagonal will open, this pawn will be played to h5. So for example, h5 takes, you see what I'm aiming for? I want to put my queen on h7. That's a really weak square, and it's really hard to see how black could defend this. I mean, with the plan that I have in mind with e5. So I want to put my bishop. So I first play queen d3, bishop c2, e5, and then try to checkmate pretty much. So that's the idea I had in mind. So yeah, with queen c2, I was trying to go for that. She played queen c8, trying to attack the pawn on g4. And here I played the move king h2 because I thought, okay, my king is not doing much anymore on g2. And it may feel a bit weird that I'm moving my king to g2 and then h2. But I thought, because she's trying to take here and she would take with the queen with check. So now if she will take on g4, I'll take, queen takes. And I was actually thinking to play rook h1 instead of rook g1. Because at rook h1, if she gives me a check, I'll go here and then I'm running away. Whereas if the rook was on g1, because there's gonna be like check, the checks would continue or something. I don't know. I didn't want to have the queen on h3. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. But yeah, I was gonna go for something like this and I would run away, and my next rook would go to g1 pretty much. So yeah, once again, I'll be attacking the pawn h7. So my opponent went for the move b5. After the game, she was like, oh, b5, such a stupid bad move, you know? And I was like, well, I mean, honestly, I don't see what she could possibly do here else besides just standing and doing nothing, which is, I think, not what you want. So I understand that she played move b5, but I was happy that she played this because a4, we're going to open up the a file. I was really, really happy with this, but let's see how she continued. She played the move knight d8, which I thought was a bit annoying because, I mean, it's a bit hard for me to find an access point, but okay, I took queen d3. So the idea behind queen d3 is, okay, you might feel like it's just a random move. You just moved your queen and you did not really improve the position of the queen. My idea was that after h5, I'll take, and the bishop cannot capture my pawn. Oh wait, it's actually my opponent's turn. The bishop cannot capture this pawn. So, the reason is because, well, the pawn on b5 will be hanging. I mean, obviously, I can take on g6 first, blah, blah, blah. But the idea is I can take the pawn on b5. That bishop is overloaded. So, this is another way of not allowing my opponent to play h5, which is one of her very few ideas, because she also wants to play f5, but f5 for the time being, if she plays the move f5, I was considering to take. And after takes, I will play g5. And there is never going to be an attack across this diagonal. I can't draw this arrow. Across this diagonal, never going to be an attack ever. She played move c6. And here I was so happy because now rook a7. My rook comes in the 7th rank. My plan is that after h5, I will not take on h5. Apparently that's the best move, but I wouldn't have done that. I was going to play rook e a1, and after takes, rook a8, queen c7, and rook a7. And this is actually what I missed. I missed that there's knight b7. I thought I was winning the... I mean, not really winning the piece because my piece is also hanging. But I thought after queen b6, I would just take this bishop and I have a fantastic position. But I didn't even see knight b7. That's so funny. But okay, regardless, like after knight b7, I have a really nice position. My rooks are very active. I just need to be a bit more careful because, yeah, this looks a bit dangerous with the pawn on g4. But apparently, after h5, I could have just taken. And am I not afraid of bishop takes h3? No, rook g1 is what the engine suggests. Wow. Okay, so my opponent didn't play this, but she played c5, which I did not expect because she first played c6, and then right after that c5, I was like, huh? Why is this a thing? And I got so confused because her next move is knight c6. And she will kick my rook out of there, and I'm only able to go back. And I was terrified. I was like, come on, I have such a beautiful position. More than half of her pieces are on the back rank. How can I not be better? How? So I decided to take on c5 with the b pawn so that I still have my center pawn here. She played the move knight c6, and here I played the move rook a2 because I thought I have nothing to do here anymore. I have to go back. But apparently there was this really beautiful move that I did consider, but I hated it for so many reasons because I thought, what am I doing here? Rook takes d7. This crossed my mind somewhere, but I could not believe that I was going to be better here. I could not believe it. I thought my pawns were just gonna not survive. But apparently after c takes d6, I'm doing very fine. I didn't even look at this position just yet, but I mean, if you look at it for the second time, you know, if you look at the position like one more time, it makes so much sense because where is black's play actually? Like imagine I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna play king g2, king h2. What can black even possibly do here? I'm failing to see it. I can't really see it. I mean, if you're gonna play moves like h5, I don't know. I think that will only hurt your chances. I think what went wrong in my head was that I considered this. So the first move I considered when she played c5 was this. Because if she takes here, I win the bishop. So that's the first thing I looked at, you know? Like, I can win the piece if she takes back. And then I found that there's knight c6. And I absolutely hated this position. And here, it crossed my mind that I can take on d7. Take. I didn't really like this because I thought my pawn on c3 is very weak. If pawn on c3 drops, my pawn on b4 will drop. And if I take on b5, so if I would take on b5, oh, it's not my turn. I mean, if I ever would take on b5, bishop takes c3, this pawn will drop, not right now, sorry. This pawn will drop, and I really didn't like this because I felt like my pawns were really vulnerable. And then I considered b takes c5. But I don't remember thinking about rook takes d7 here. Maybe because I thought it makes less sense because I'm not winning the pawn on d6. But I don't know. I don't think I actually considered rook takes d7 here in this very position because I'm not winning the pawn on d6. She can simply capture it back after rook takes d7. I mean, rook takes, queen takes, and pawn takes, there's queen takes. But looking at the position now one more time, it actually makes sense that this is better for white. Because white is the one that has so much potential in the position. Like there's e5, knight e4. You can push the pawn, you know, maybe at some point you can play knight g5 at some point to attack f7. There's so many moves here for white. Yeah, this actually makes sense. I just didn't consider it because I'm not winning the pawn d6. I thought it was not gonna be worth it. But now that I see it again, dang it! The thing is, guys, after rook takes d7, queen takes d7, so pawn takes, queen takes, queen takes. It's not that you're winning in the next few moves or that there's a tactic coming up somewhere. No, you have a positional advantage. You have an advantage for the next couple of, I mean, not next couple of moves, for a long time. Because, I mean, as long as you don't do anything too crazy, for example, if you just stand here and don't do anything, what can black possibly do? There's no play for black. This pawn is literally blocking black, actually. There's no play on the king side for black. If you push any of those pawns, your king will cry more. Why does the wand is able to push pawns here? There's 3 pawns. I mean, okay, 2 passed pawns pretty much. I would consider this pawn as a really strong pawn, but it's not a passed pawn, really. But you have 2 passed pawns. I feel like if you trade it down to an endgame, you shouldn't trade all the pieces because I'm not sure if you're able to win that endgame with very few pieces on the board. But for example, if we get the queens off the board, I think it will be much easier for white to play here because your idea is to play e5, d5, and slowly push the pawns and play knight e4, and it's a really interesting position. And I'm a bit sad I didn't go for this, but I had so much faith in my position. I didn't think it was gonna break down so quickly, you know? So that's also part of the reason why I went for rook a2. And I think this is still fine. But quickly, soon enough, she played d takes c5, and I started to think like, wait, I really don't like this actually, because so I was thinking bishop d5, but what do I do after b4, you know, stuff like that. And my pawn structure is just collapsing, and I thought if my pawn structure collapses, my position is just dying down, and I'm gonna lose sooner or later because she still has this idea of h5 or f5 in the air, you know. I didn't see what I could go for anymore after b4. So I played the move d takes c5, which I knew was not great, but that's why I thought my position was horrendous already, because she's putting so much pressure on my pawns and I couldn't really see what to do. And yeah, I'm allowing her to play knight e5, but I just couldn't see what to do else. So I took on e5, rook takes e5, bishop d5, you know, I don't know. Why did I play this? To not allow rook takes c5, to attack c3, and so on. I mean, I did see bishop takes g5. I saw everything. I didn't know what to do. So, rook a8. Here I had some small hope, guys. But she found the only move in the position. Oh. I thought I was doing well here. I was very confident when she took on g4. I was so happy with my move rook a8. And then she played queen takes c5, and I was devastated because nothing works anymore. So the idea is that after queen d7, there's c6. And obviously her idea is that if I would have taken on g4, queen takes g4, and I'll get checkmated very soon. So that's why I play c6 to get the queen off this diagonal so it goes anywhere like here, and then I can safely take. And then I always have queen h3, knight f3. I can safely defend myself. Oh, I have to take on f8 first. Should not forget about the rook. And that's clearly winning. You're just taking the piece here. So I was really happy with this position. And then she played queen takes c5. And I was like, come on, where is my win? Because the tricky thing here is that she's attacking f2. If takes, which is what I played, takes. And if I take now, she takes on f2, and I lose. So yeah, I played king g2 to defend. She played bishop c8, knight f3, rook h5. And here I was sitting like, I wanna go home. What is this? I was so upset. Like, imagine, let's go back a little bit. Being in this position, and then you're told you're gonna lose in the next 15 moves. You'll have a really bad position, or the next 10 moves. I will say I don't believe you. There's no way. And then we see this position. Like, you can't make this up. It's so sad. So apparently h4 here is the best move to save the game. I did consider this, but I really hated the position. I mean, my pawns are so horrendous. My pawns are so bad. I thought she would simply play bishop g4, and I will just lose the pawn h4, and then h-pawns will move, and I didn't really like this position, not at all. Queen d4, I didn't like queen takes, c takes, and why is this okay? I misjudged this, I guess. I thought my pawns were not great, and her pawns were fantastic. So if she just defends that... What? Rook c1? Oh... I saw this, but I hated the position so much. I didn't think I was gonna survive against 2 bishops and the h-pawn dropping. But apparently it's fine because I'm attacking f7. Oh, I miscalculated that. Ugh, and misjudged that. So sad, so sad. So I played knight g1, which is horrendous. But yeah, I couldn't see anything else. Queen c7. And here e5. I had seconds here on the clock. We're on move 34. I could not see anything. I was actually... Is rook takes e5 good or bad? Okay, minus 1.6 or minus 1 point... Okay, whatever. King g7 first. She defends the pawn on f7, really good. Queen f3. I had no moves here. Every move to me was just lost. I don't know what to do here. I was surprised that this was still fine, that she could not take on e5 and everything. I mean, she could, but not the greatest move. Bishop c5, rook e4. It was so funny. So I literally played on the increment 30 seconds. And I was about to take f4. I was like, why can I not just take? And then I realized... simply rook f5. And I thought, okay, alright, I guess I'll just attack with the rook then. I don't know. So I played rook e4. Bishop f5. Rook takes f4. Queen takes e5. And yeah, from here onwards, it went pretty much downhill. She played it, I think, flawlessly from what I could see. Rook takes, queen c7, rook g4. I mean, her idea is she's a pawn up. My king is not safe. Her idea is simply to trade pieces or get a very comfortable position. She was playing really well with that bishop. It really, wasn't annoying to me. Rook f5, queen here, rook c5, rook e8, bishop here. I was trying to go for some tricks, you never know. Actually, that reminds me. So, she told me after the game, she told me she was about to blunder this. Rook g4 and rook f5. Because the idea is to play rook f5, but I can just take the rook. It's pinned. She was about to play that, and I saw this, and I was hoping for it, but I was like, she's not gonna do that. There's no way. She didn't. But, yeah, she did say that she almost fell for it. And I was like, yeah, sometimes people fall for it, but today is not the day. Rook g4, rook e5, knight e2, h5. Yeah, so this was very tough because you're lost, you're pawn down. Where do I find counterplay? I have no counterplay. So I tried something with rook e8, bishop e5, knight d4. I tried to trick her here. First of all, you cannot take on c3 because the bishop is simply hanging. And I thought I had some tricks here because if she's going to... So imagine she's going to do anything else. Like, I don't know, like a random move like h4. I can... Oh. Apparently this is lost for black. So what I was going to say, I was going to force repetition. But how is this? Okay, I see the checkmate pattern, I guess. Yeah, okay, I see it. No, I mean, the idea is that I force a repetition, okay? Disregard the eval bar for a second because it's checkmate. But I was thinking to force the repetition here and be happy with my life. But then she played the move bishop f6. And there goes all my hopes and dreams because I'm never able to access anything anymore. I mean... Knight f5, it's simply covered by the rook now. Even if she plays rook takes c3, the bishop is covering the important squares. I'm not able to continue giving checks and so on. So, yeah, that really hurts. It really hurt. Queen e4, queen h2, and yeah, I just have no moves. She's just outplaying me here. And we went to this endgame. I still had a tiny bit of hope that she would blunder, because rook a4, I'm threatening something. Something is hanging here. But she played g5. I tried something here, but didn't really work out well. She played really accurately, really safely. And yeah, rook d3 was a really annoying move. My knight had to leave. And here she's just coming forward, and I could not stop the pawn on h2. It was promoting. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate that I lost this game. I'm quite devastated because, yeah, I felt like I did really well with, maybe not too great with time management, but I feel like I did so much better than the other days, and the opening went well. I feel like I had a good position early on, but terrible. It feels terrible that I couldn't convert it. It feels terrible that I didn't, sacrifice when I should have. So yeah, it is what it is.